All right, we had to cut out of that because there is some breaking news coming in. Nepal's youth are holding a rally to protest against corruption in the country. The rally at a venue close to the Prime Minister's office is being hosted by people under 28. With no political parties backing them, the organizers said they are fighting rampant corruption, inequality, and the government coming down heavily on protests. All right, you can see those visuals on your screens coming in from Nepal of protests that have been taking place. I have Ghazali joining me live on this story. Ghazali, just tell us why these protests are taking place. We see scores of people gathered there.
Carried out by the youths of Nepal who are carrying out this protest against corruption, against massive corruption. And the background to this protest is that just recently Nepal's Prime Minister Mr. KP Oli had announced that how he is going to ban most of the social media like Facebook, like Instagram, because they have not registered with the government's telecommunications department. Now, that being one side of the story, for a very long time, for multiple weeks now, the youths of Nepal have been planning this protest. They call this as a Gen Z protest, and that is why there is not just one group which is leading the protest, but perhaps the youths of Nepal have gathered at multiple locations, not just in Kathmandu, but in other locations in Nepal, who are protesting against the rampaging, massive corruption in the government system. Nepal's Prime Minister, in his statement, just came a day before yesterday, because today's protest was planned in advance, that the youths will gather on Monday and hold a protest against the government there. But Nepal's Prime Minister was quoted saying that perhaps he is doing his best, and he feels that the youths of the country will understand the sentiment and intentions of the government and will not hold this protest. The protest was planned close to Prime Minister's residence in Nepal.
And that's my second question to you, Ghazali. The Prime Minister facing the heat there, given that this protest was very close to his office.
They wanted to draw his attention. The protesters wanted to bring his attention towards this agitation against the rampaging corruption there. The Prime Minister has not addressed the core issue of the protest, which is the corruption, the rampant corruption there. But he has appealed the students to call off the protest. The statement has not come today. It came just a day before yesterday. But it appears now that this entire movement, or the movement, has now culminated into protest, and it is expected that this will not be limited to just one city or location close to his residence, but will involve a lot of people in different locations in the country.
But this is a sweeping blanket ban that the Prime Minister of Nepal wants to implement. You're talking about at least 26 social media platforms that he wants to shut down.
Vedika, we have seen this kind of responses from the government which has been facing this kind of agitation of people's anger in our neighborhood as well, when social media was banned, just in Pakistan as well. But this is only going to aggravate the situation, because the student leaders who are speaking there, or who have been vocal on the social media or other platforms, they have been accessing the social media platforms through other networks, and they have said that perhaps a sweeping ban by the government will only aggravate the situation, and the government should focus on the real issue for which this agitation has been organized, rather than putting a ban on social media.
The opposition reacting to this in Nepal, Ghazali, any word from them? Because of course you have the young blood on the roads protesting against the Prime Minister of the country, but what is the opposition saying to this?
Opposition has not yet reacted very strongly to what is happening, because had they been involved, we could have seen their faces also in this protest. It is purely led by the students, as what we saw in Bangladesh last year when Sheikh Hasina was being ousted, though we got to know later that there were forces behind those agitation as well. But this appears as of now to be led just by the students, just by the young generation there. The opposition is keeping an eye on it, but no active response as of now, though they have been blaming the current Prime Minister of indulging, or his government of not controlling or curbing on corruption there.
Ghazali, let's just very quickly recap for our viewers what we're seeing on our screens here. We're seeing young protesters take to the streets near the Prime Minister's office in Nepal, protesting against what they're saying is rampant corruption, inequality, and the government coming down heavily on protests. Ghazali, just take us through the order that KP Sharma Oli's government has come out with. It happened 5 days ago, what the order said, and why the youth are angry against their Prime Minister in Nepal.
See, the youths are quite angry about this government for not controlling corruption. What they feel is that in every department there is massive corruption. The government, which came to power under Mr. Oli, had promised that they will overhaul the entire system, but which has not been done in as many days. And just 2-3 days before this scheduled protest today, the government came out with an order banning most of the social media accounts. As you rightly pointed out, 26 social media platforms have been banned, including Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms in Nepal. The reason given by the government was that perhaps these companies have not registered or have not got informed the government about their operations in the country, and that is why it is getting banned. But the youths, particularly the protesters, believe that perhaps this was one of those draconian steps by the Nepal's government to curb this protest, to ensure that it doesn't spread far and wide. But they see that all these draconian orders by the Nepal's government will only lead to, or will only aggravate the situation and will help their agitation to grow far and wide.